I was gonna rip his heart out, I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. There's no one can stop me. Lynx is a conqueror, no, I'm Alexander, he's no Alexander. I'm the best ever, there's never been anybody ruthless. I'm Sonny Liston, I'm Jack Dempsey, there's no one like me. I'm from Nairclaw, there's no one that can match me. My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart, I want to eat his children. Praise be to Allah.
Welcome back to Keep It Real Boxing and another episode of Bout the Ropes, my weekly podcast where I talk about the latest and hottest topics in the sport of boxing. For those of you who are new to the channel or new to the podcast or any of my videos, to be honest with you. Alright, so let's get into it. Let's get started with this whole thing. I talked about this last week as well. I'm going to talk about it again this week. Linares versus Lomachenko. I said I would keep you updated. Some more drama has occurred, in terms of making this fight. I mean, as a boxing fan, as all boxing fans, we all are boxing fans. These are things that frustrate us in the sport. The politics, the business end of it all, who's going to get the money, etc., stuff like that. And basically, I'm just going to kind of like break it down point by point in terms of what's been said by both sides and then give you my opinion on it all. Now, the one thing both sides are saying in terms of Bob Arum and Top Rank Promotions, Oscar De La Hoya, Eric Gomez and Golden Boy Promotion is that everything was agreed. Yeah, they negotiated. There was a bit of an issue in terms of money, purses, etc., stuff like that. They came to an agreement with all of that sort of stuff, and it's happened quite quickly, and that's quite rare in boxing. You know that when you get two names like Linares and Lomachenko going up against each other potentially, money always comes in the way in terms of who's the A side, who's the B side, all that sort of stuff between promoters when they're negotiating for their fighters. And it seems from both sides, one thing is great is that they both agreed finally, very quickly, about how the money's going to split. How the money's going to be split. Now, I don't have details around who's going to get what percentage and who's going to get paid what, but they have both said that they've agreed on that. The issue is the date, May 12th. Okay. Now, HBO are planning to replay the first fight of Canelo versus Triple G. Okay, and what they're also planning to do is add a live fight card to be paired with that replay. Okay, so they're saying that that's not a good date, and the reason it's not a good date for Golden Boy Promotions as well is because Golden Boy Promotions are going to probably be the boxing promotional company that's going to provide HBO with that card to be paired with the replay of Triple G versus Canelo. Now, Golden Boy have come out and said that they have no issue with having Linares face Lomachenko on ESPN. However, if they do it on May the 12th, what would happen then is that Golden Boy, in a sense, would be competing with itself. All right, and let me explain this to you. So we're on May 12th. Like I said, we've got HBO showing a replay of Canelo versus Triple G. Attached to that will also be a live fight card, which will most likely be provided by boxing promotional company Golden Boy Promotions. And then on top of that, what Aaron wants, he wants Linares versus Lomachenko on ESPN on the same date, which means Golden Boy would have a live fight going on with one of their fighters on ESPN, while there is a live fight card going on HBO, which is also provided by Golden Boy Promotions. So in a sense, they will be competing against themselves in terms of ratings. And obviously they can't have that. It doesn't make sense from a business point of view for you to be competing against yourself. So what they want is that they want to change the date from May 12th to another date. Now, Bob Arum wants the fight and ESPN want the fight to take place on May 12th, simply because it's a big night in terms of, or a big weekend in terms of NBA basketball playoffs. I think it kicks off that weekend, and that's a big night for ESPN. And what they want to do is kind of have the basketball playoffs. From what I understand, they want to show those, and then after the basketball playoffs, they want to lead into Linares versus Lomachenko. Not necessarily, they just want a Lomachenko fight on the back of the basketball playoffs. Now, Bob Arum has also said that he feels HBO have leaned on Golden Boy Promotions, and that's the reason why Golden Boy Promotions have pulled out of the fight happening on May 12th on ESPN. He feels that he actually blames the HBO executive Peter Nielsen for this. He feels that there may even also be a little bit of a vendetta there as well, because as you know, Bob Arum and Top Rank Promotions used to show all their fights on HBO, and in the last year or so, a couple of years now, he and Top Rank Promotions have jumped ship from HBO and boarded the ship of ESPN, where they've moved all their fighters to. So he feels like there's probably a little bit of a personal vendetta against Top Rank for doing that. And he says that's why he feels we now have this standoff between HBO and ESPN in regards to making Linares versus Lomachenko. Now, Oscar De La Hoya the other day put out a 6-point tweet, where he made these points in terms of the issues they're facing in terms of making this fight and giving his solution to the problem. And I'm going to put these tweets up in a second, and I'm actually going to read through each point he made. So here's what Oscar De La Hoya had to say. So point 1. Over the last days, there has been a lot of rumour and speculation about the potential fight between Linares and Lomachenko. The facts are pretty clear. Linares wants this fight. Golden Boy wants this fight. Mr. Honda wants this fight. And collectively, we are doing everything we can to get these two champions into the ring. Point 3. We know of no bylaw, Ukrainian holiday or magic day, in the words of Bob Arum, that mandates that Lomachenko can only fight on one day during the spring and summer month, May 12th. Point 4. While Linares is happy to fight on any other day of the calendar, if Lomachenko absolutely, positively must fight on the 12th, we have a solution. Point 5. HBO is willing to pay more for the fight than is currently being offered, and they would do it on May 12th. Point 6. So Lomachenko has 3 options. Option 1. Fight on May 12th on HBO. Option 2. Fight on any other day on the calendar. Option 3. Walk away from the fight all fans of the sport want to see. I am hopeful he chooses one of the first 2. Now, Golden Boy Promotions, Eric Gomez, has come out and said that they are happy to put Linares versus Lomachenko on ESPN. They're happy for it to be broadcasted over ESPN. What he's saying is that just pick another weekend, basically is what he's saying. He says the NBA playoffs last for 2 months. They're not just on May 12th. And basically what he's saying is that we're happy to do it. We're happy to have the fight shown on ESPN, because you've got to remember, Golden Boy also have a little bit of a deal where they show fights on ESPN as well, not just HBO. Okay? Now, he's turned around and said, pick another weekend where there are the NBA basketball playoffs happening, and on the back of that, we're happy to show Linares versus Lomachenko live on ESPN. Just show us a bit of compromise, meet us in the middle, and we can make this fight happen. Basically what he's saying is that HBO aren't willing to budge in terms of the May 12th date. They want to show Triple G versus Canelo replay, and then attach to that a live fight card. And that live fight card will be provided by Golden Boy Promotions. So they don't want to be competing with themselves. So let's make the fight on ESPN. We're happy to do that. Just pick another date. Pick another NBA basketball playoff weekend, and we're happy to do it. Now, Bob Arum has come out and said that basically showing the fight on HBO is a complete waste of time. The reason he says this is because he feels that there is a limited audience on HBO, and I'm going to explain what he means by this. Now, I'm guessing out in the US that HBO is a premium channel. Okay, so if you have a basic cable package, HBO is not included in that. You have to pay additional money on top of your subscription, monthly subscription, to gain access to HBO. But with ESPN, you don't have to do this. ESPN comes as part of your package, your basic package. So it's basically, in a sense, it's free to everyone for everyone to view who has a basic cable subscription. Now, just like here in the UK, we have the same thing. So I'll give you an example. Say you have a subscription, a monthly subscription to Sky, and part of that subscription you have access to Sky Sports. Now, if you're a boxing fan, you want to see all the fights. So if you want to see every fight that's shown on TV, then you need to get Box Nation too. Now, Box Nation isn't part of your package, which means you now have to pay additional money to gain access to Box Nation, which is like £12 a month. I do it, yeah. So I have my Sky Sports subscription, but I have to also pay an additional £12 on top of that to gain access to Box Nation, so I can watch all the fights that come on TV. Let's use the TV channel Dave as an example. If you want access to the channel Dave, you'll get it for free. Whether you've got a Sky Premium package, a Virgin Media Premium package, or just the basic package, yeah, which gives you limited, it's the cheap version basically, yeah, for people that can't afford the premium package. Alright, but you will get Dave included in that no matter what. No matter what package you got, you will get Dave. That's what ESPN is. No matter what your package is, I'm guessing, yeah, you will get ESPN. So what he's trying to say is that even for the people that can't afford HBO, they can still get to watch the fight. It's the best thing for the angle he's using here, Bob Arum, is that it's the best option for everyone and for all the boxing fans. That way everyone can get to see the fight, yeah, and that makes it great for boxing. Is what he's trying to, is the angle he's trying to use here, in my opinion. So what are the fighters saying about this, Lomachenko and Linares? Well, they both put out a tweet recently as well, so I'm going to show you and read through those. So here's what Linares had to say. Lomachenko, I know you are ready for May 12th. Also, I am too. I don't want politics to interfere with our bout. I will tell my promoter, Golden Boy Promotions, no matter what, we'll take the fight for the benefit of boxing and the fans. Hashtag Team Linares. Now this is what Lomachenko had to say. Really wanted the Linares fight. Too bad Golden Boy won't let it happen. Simple as that. Which makes me kind of wonder what Bob Arum's telling Lomachenko. Because you see the difference in terms of what each fighter is saying. And I'm not saying, I don't believe that either of these fighters are ducking each other. I don't believe that either of these fighters don't want to fight each other. It sounds like to me that the fighters aren't the issue. Lomachenko wants it, Linares wants it. That's not the issue there. The fighters want it. Okay? But then on that tweet of what Lomachenko just said, just makes me wonder what he's being told by Bob Arum and Top Rank regarding all of this. Maybe they're not giving him the full details, because that would just suggest to me that he's been told clearly that Golden Boy are trying to block the fight, that they don't want it. Bob Arum has also stated that if the fight with Jorge Linares does not materialise for May 12th, that they've got other options. They're going to go another route, and that route will be Ray Beltran, who has just recently beat Pulis Moses for the vacant WBO lightweight world title at £135, which I did say in my last podcast that this was another option for Lomachenko if a fight with Linares couldn't be made. Now, before I give my opinion on this, I'm just going to say this, which is, I know what a lot of fans out there are going to say on the back of what I have to say when I give my opinion, which is, I know full well you can't trust any boxing promoter, alright? They are shady. We know that, okay? They're businessmen. They're all about the money. They all want to make money. That's all they care about, yeah? They also are politicians. They know how to manipulate and con the boxing fan into believing what they are saying is true, yeah? And I also know that there are fight fans out there who, the fanboys, should I say, and girls, who side with one fighter over another fighter and all that sort of stuff that I talked about in the past. have the same sort of similar allegiances to certain promoters, certain promotional companies, certain broadcasters over other broadcasters like HBO and PBC and Showtime, etc. I understand that, okay? But my opinion is not based on any of that nonsense. This is my honest opinion that I've read into on the back of what I've told you and what I've researched. So here we go. Right now, it looks like to me that if I had to put the blame on someone at the moment for this fight not happening, it has to be Bob Arum and Top Rank Promotions. Okay? Now, and the reason I'm saying this, unlike Golden Boy and Oscar De La Hoya, who we know in the past has also done things like this as well. Like I said, you know, they're all promoters, they're all shady. Okay? Golden Boy seemed to... Bob Arum has turned around and said May 12th is no good because the fight has to happen on May 12th because of the NBA playoffs and all the stuff that I've just told you. They're not budging. Okay, fine. Golden Boy turned around and said, well, we can't do it either because we're going to be the promotional company that provides the live fight card to HBO's replay of Canelo versus Triple G on May 12th. So Golden Boy said, we've got some other options for you then. Let's talk about the other options. Alright, you're saying you can't do it because you want it to happen on the back of a NBA playoff weekend. Fine, let's do that. Pick another weekend. The NBA basketball playoffs last for 2 months. Pick another weekend and we'll do the fight. We're happy to put the fight on ESPN. We got no problem with that. Remember I told you, Golden Boy Promotions also do business with ESPN because they put live fight cards on ESPN as well. So they're not going to have an issue doing business with ESPN. So they're saying, that's fine. We'll put the fight on ESPN. We're happy to do that. Just pick another weekend. Pick any other weekend on the back of the NBA playoffs, which last for 2 months. Okay? But Bob Arum is turning around and saying, you know, no, it has to be May 12th. It has to be May 12th. Well, meet us halfway somewhere then. Okay? Because we can't budge on May 12th because we've got this thing going on with HBO and HBO are standing firm. They will not allow us to air that fight on May 12th because it conflicts with a card that we're going to put on, which is going to be paired with Canelo versus Triple G. Do you get where I'm coming from? So in my opinion, Bob Arum, Top Rank and ESPN need to call Golden Boy on their bluff if that's what they think it is, and turn around and say, okay, you know what, we'll meet you halfway. We want to make this fight for the fans and for the boxing world. You know, it's great for the sport. We don't want this fight not happening. Yeah? Okay? So what we'll do is, as long as you're all prepared to come over to ESPN and allow Linares and Lomachenko to be broadcasted by ESPN, we'll move it to the following weekend or the weekend after that. Here's a few dates. Pick another weekend, Golden Boy, that you're happy with. We're happy to meet you halfway on this one because we want to make this fight. The money's fine. We've agreed all the terms of everything else. Where the fight's going to take place, which is Madison Square Garden. Apparently Bob Arum has secured Madison Square Garden for May 12th as well. I forgot to mention that. Which means I'm pretty sure he could probably turn around and say to Madison Square Garden, to the Garden, and turn around and say to him, well, you know what, we can't do May 12th. Can we switch it to another weekend? You know, over the next 2 months. Surely there's got to be some sort of options there. But I just think if Top Rank were to do that, and then Golden Boy turned around and came up with another excuse as to why the fight, you know, couldn't happen, then you could turn around and say that Golden Boy are the reason this fight's not happening. But at the moment, it looks like to me, just from what I'm looking at, you got Top Rank, Bob Arum, ESPN, who are not giving any other solutions to this problem. But then you've got Golden Boy on the other hand saying that we've got a solution. We've got a few solutions for you. Either you come over to HBO and let us show the fight on HBO, and that will be the card that we attach to the replay of Canelo versus Triple G, or we'll come over to you on ESPN, but we can't do it on that weekend, which is May 12th. We need to do it on another weekend. Pick another weekend where there are NBA playoffs happening, alright, and we'll show the fight happily on ESPN on the back of the playoffs. what I'm basically trying to say is, it looks like, you know, Top Rank and Bob Arum are not willing to, they're not providing any sort of options or solutions to this. Whereas Golden Boy are. They are trying to make the fight. They are trying to say, okay, right, how about we do this? How about we do that? How about we pick another date? It could be a basketball playoff weekend. We're happy to do that. We can't budge because HBO aren't willing to budge. But we can work with you and we can show the fight on ESPN. Just pick another date. Bob Arum should come back and say, alright, let's call you on your bluff. Let's see if you're really willing to do that. Here you go, here's a date for you. If, like I said, if they turn around and said that, no, Golden Boy turn around and say, no, that date's not even good for us, then you could turn around and say it's Golden Boy's fault. But at the moment, it just seems like to me that Bob Arum is appearing to want to make this fight. Remember, this has got nothing to do with the fighters. Lomachenko and Linares want the fight. This has got nothing to do with the fighters, in my opinion. But it appears to me that Bob Arum is making it look like, yeah, I'm trying to make this fight. I want to make this fight. But Golden Boy, they're being difficult. HBO, they're being difficult. They're not willing to budge. They're not willing to compromise. Well, it looks like from my point of view, Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy Promotions are trying to give multiple options and multiple solutions to make this fight. And they're saying quite clearly, we will come to ESPN, but we just can't do it on May 12th. Pick another weekend, we'll do it then. Do you get what I'm trying to say? One side's trying to provide you with options, the other side isn't. And sorry, I'm going to go with the side, at this moment in time, I'm going to go with the side that's providing options and looks like it actually wants to make the fight, which is Golden Boy Promotions, unfortunately, on this one. I feel Top Rank, if Top Rank come back and say, actually, you know what? Fine, let's change the date. We're going to pick this NBA weekend, playoff weekend, or whatever you want to call it. And what do you say, Golden Boy? And if a Golden Boy turned around and said to you, like I said, and said, nah, that's not good, then you could turn around and say, actually, Golden Boy are the ones that are avoiding this fight and trying not to make this fight. That's just my opinion on it. That's the way I see it. You know, I'm sure a lot of people are going to disagree with me. That's fine. But it's based on what I've provided you in terms of the latest news and information regarding this whole situation between Linares versus Lomachenko and Top Rank, Golden Boy, Arum, Oscar De La Hoya, HBO, ESPN. Don't forget, Bob Arum likes to keep things in-house. A lot of promoters are like that, and Bob Arum's probably the biggest for it. He likes to keep all his fights within, you know, in-house. So at the same time, remember what I said to you, he's already stated that the fight with Linares doesn't happen, they will go ahead with Lomachenko versus Beltran. And Beltran is a Top Rank fighter. He has that WBO title, and we know Bob Arum has a very good relationship with the WBO. Most of his fighters, the first title they pick up in their career is a WBO title. So he's already got that WBO title. He's got that in-house now with Ray Beltran. He takes another one of his fighters who's in-house in Lomachenko, puts them together. Lomachenko will most likely win that fight, we know that, even though it's a good fight and a tough fight, but I still think Lomachenko would win that fight. And he would go and pick up and become the WBO champion, lightweight champion, at 135 pound in his first fight. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So there's a lot of things going on here that points the finger at Bob Arum, Top Rank and ESPN. Really, at Bob Arum, to be honest with you. Yeah? But if he wants to prove me wrong, and say that, hey, it's Golden Boy that's the problem, then call them on their bluff. Meet them in their compromise. Turn around and say to Golden Boy, we will pick another weekend. Here's 3-4 weekends for you. Pick a date. And if Golden Boy turn around and say then, no, those dates aren't good for us either, then fine. I'll openly turn around and say, actually, look, now it looks like Golden Boy are the ones that are actually dodging Lomachenko, Arum, Top Rank, and ESPN. But right now, on the basis of everything I've told you, and you know everything I've said, all the news and information I've provided you, it looks like to me, unfortunately, in this situation, it's definitely Bob Arum who's getting in the way of this fight happening. And it's a shame because you know what, this is a great fight, Linares versus Lomachenko, and I feel sorry for the fighters as well, because you know it's the fighters that lose out. It's not just the boxing fans, it's the fighters that lose out as well. End of the day, that's my opinion on it. That's where I'm going to leave it for now, unless something else materializes in the next couple of days or a week or so. I'll happily come back to this subject, but that's the way I feel at the moment. That I feel Bob Arum is the reason this fight is not happening. Okay, so it's been an interesting weekend when it comes to the welterweight division. Now, Danny Garcia was fighting on Saturday night. He was fighting Brandon Rios in what was seen as a tune-up fight for him. He's had about a year off now since he lost to Keith Thurman, and he won the fight. He stopped, or should I say, he stopped Brandon Rios in the 9th round. The referee stopped the fight. He knocked him down. Rios got back up, and the referee just saw that Rios was in no fit state to continue. I'm not really going to talk about the fight. I'll do a separate podcast to catch up with this weekend's action. But it's all the drama that went on around that fight I want to talk about. And I want to start off with Sean Porter and Thurman getting into it. Now, Keith Thurman was there too, as was Sean Porter. Mikey Garcia was around too on the night. And there was a round table with a few, members of the media going on with Mikey Garcia and Keith Thurman. And out of the blue comes Sean Porter, sits down next to Keith Thurman, and they get into it. It was quite funny to watch. It was quite entertaining. A little bit of banter, quite a bit of comedy. I enjoyed it a lot. I'm not really going to tell you what happened, what they said word for word. I'm not going to sit here and do that. Go check it out for yourself if you haven't seen it. But it ended up being really heated. Right? What started as quite a funny affair, and whether Sean Porter was asking, when are you going to fight me? And Keith Thurman was kind of winding him up a little bit, in a comical way, that, well, not now, not next, I need a tune-up fight. Why? And Sean Porter asked him, why do you need that tune-up fight? And he said the same thing he's always said: injury. I need to feel out my injury. I've got ring rust. That's why I need this tune-up fight. But I'm going to play you a little bit of the audio at the end where it got heated. So here goes.
Blue, baby.
It didn't make sense.
Swag blue.
Hey, all I know is
man,
everything is tailored to fit Sean Porter. So is that WBC title.
Outside of the ring.
So is that WBC title. Whenever you ready to give it up.
Dude, it ain't getting given up.
Whenever you ready to give it up.
Giving up.
Whenever you ready to give it up.
Oh, you couldn't take it one time.
You ready to give it up.
take it one time.
That WBC wasn't on the line the first time.
It don't matter. Belts are belts, baby.
All right.
You think I'm ever gonna let you take a strap off me?
Hey, it is what it is. Whenever you ready.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's time. Let's go.
Guys, we got more.
Can't take it, baby.
Let's go.
You sure? You can't take it.
You sure?
Never could, never would.
You sure?
Never could, never would.
Never could, never would?
Never could, never would.
Oh, really?
Hey.
Did I run that fight? Did I run?
It don't matter what happened. You took the L.
You ran?
Dude, I had you on your back foot.
And you've been running ever since.
I had you on your back
and you've been running ever since.
Boys, that's
Hold
enough.
on, let me say this. Let me say this and it's over.
I told you he was soft.
Hey, y'all know what it is. We waiting on him. So when y'all wonder why every fighter in the welterweight division is inactive, it's because this man right here ain't man enough to get in the ring and say what it is.
A year later, post surgery.
So whenever you ready. Whenever you ready.
This year. Don't worry. We'll have a contract.
High five too.
And still.
Okay, my thoughts on this. Keith Thurman is saying what he always has been saying, right? And I'm going to keep saying what I've been saying, which is Keith Thurman clearly is lacking in confidence when it comes to that injury. He needs this tune-up fight, and then there was moments as well where Sean Porter turned around and said, there's three of us, me, Danny Garcia, and Roll Spence. Pick one, okay? Just pick one. And you could tell that Keith Thurman, he keeps saying the same thing over and over and over again. My injury, ring rust, etc. He's quite clearly not confident at this moment in time, like I've said before. Yeah, he's not fully confident in himself at the moment. He needs to feel out that elbow injury, and then he'll start making the fights that everyone wants to see. And I've said this before, and I said I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt on this one, okay? Because you've got to get into the psyche of a fighter. Now, let's put it this way. I think he definitely wants to leave Errol Spence till 2019, right at the end, because to me that's a compliment to Errol Spence Jr. because that's how serious Keith Thurman takes him. Yeah, he doesn't believe that if he gets into the ring, he only wants to fight twice this year. If he gets into the ring with Errol Spence right after his tune-up fight, he doesn't feel he's going to be at 100%. He doesn't feel he's going to be at his very best. However, he thinks, I get the feeling he feels that he will be in a position to take on the likes of Sean Porter still, no disrespect to him, or Danny Garcia, and no disrespect to Danny Garcia either. So he quite clearly sees them as probably not easier fights, but not as challenging, I suppose is the best way I would say, as Errol Spence Jr. So the way I see it is, he clearly doesn't feel confident in terms of fighting right away against any of those guys. He wants a tune-up fight to get off the ring rust, feel out his injury. I understand that. Then take on a competitive fight against the likes of Sean Porter, which will probably kind of get him ready and prepared for Errol Spence Jr. Then potentially even take a fight on with Danny Garcia, because Danny Garcia is talking a lot and saying that, he still feels he won the fight. That's what Danny Garcia is throwing out there. So he probably wants to shut Danny Garcia up a little bit. Look, let me take care of that bit of business as well. Again, that's another competitive fight that'll get me ready for Errol Spence Jr. And then 2019, somewhere in 2019, we will see Keith Thurman versus Errol Spence Jr. Providing the downside of it, and I was going to say, providing Keith Thurman keeps winning, then we'll see that fight. The only downside is if Thurman was to lose, it ruins that fight. That fight won't happen. There'll be no need for it. And I'm going to keep saying what I've always been saying. I understand it. I'm getting into the guy's head a little bit, trying to understand his psyche around this. I understand it. And I will, and I've said this, I will promise you, if it comes to the time where he fights Sean Porter and potentially fights Danny Garcia again, and he's got those two out of the way, he does not fight Errol Spence Jr., then I will say, for real, I'll keep it real, and I'll turn around and say, you're ducking. Now you're ducking, giving you the benefit of the doubt, and now the time has come, you're still not making that fight. I will accuse him of ducking, no doubt about it. But at the moment, I'm kind of trying to get into his head, trying to understand where he's coming from, and I do get it. There's a lack of confidence and belief in himself physically. Yeah, maybe, and that affects you a little bit mentally as well. And a lot of people say, well, if he's not confident, he should give up the belts and stuff like that. No one's going to give up the belts. Let's be honest. He's trying to strategically put himself back in a place where he feels confident mentally and physically to take on that monster of a challenge in Errol Spence Jr. Now, like I said, Errol Spence should take that as a compliment, as far as I'm concerned. Just keep doing what you're doing, keep winning, keep fighting. I don't think Errol Spence is going to get beaten by anyone anytime soon. Keep getting those fights in. Don't stop what you're doing. Just in the hope to wait around for Keith Thurman. Keep doing what you're doing. Let Keith Thurman do what he wants to do. Come 2019, I know it's a long time to wait. Don't get me wrong, I'm impatient as well. I am quite impatient. I want to see fights straight away. I would love to see this fight this year, but it ain't gonna happen. So, as boxing fans, we just got to be patient. Give Keith Thurman the benefit of the doubt. Let's see what happens next year. Unfortunately, we've got to wait that long. And if it doesn't materialise by 2019, by all rights, you could call him a ducker or whatever, or he's scared, or whatever it is you want to say about Keith Thurman. Right now, I'm willing to give him that benefit of the doubt. There was a fan as well who got right up in Thurman's face as well. Started saying, "Oh, why aren't you fighting? Why aren't you fighting Spence?" He turned around and said, "Injuries. Sometime Thurman." And Thurman, got a little bit annoyed with it as well. Really got into it with the fan. Some channels are like, there's a couple of channels out there who are saying that, he shouldn't have done that. Floyd Mayweather gets heckled all the time and stuff. He never gets into it, which is bull, because we've seen Floyd Mayweather on TMZ. We've seen him even on the McGregor press conferences and stuff like that, where there was that one fighter, saying 49-1, and he said, "You come see me later," and he actually got into it with the guy. So that's not true. We know that. Yeah, fighters do get irritated by things like that, and they do end up, reacting. Unfortunately, they shouldn't, but they do. But the funny thing is, if you go and watch that video of this fan, there were so many fans around Keith Thurman at that time, taking pictures with him, wanting his autograph. A lot of them telling him. One guy says, "You don't need to explain yourself to nobody." Do you know what I mean? So there's some fans out there who are actually on Keith's side, etc., and there will be Keith Thurman fans. I understand that, but not all the fans are against Keith Thurman. And he's got to try and remind himself of that and just stay professional and keep on with his own thing, in my opinion. But like I said, if the fight doesn't materialise, I've said it so many times, I talked about it in my last podcast. I've also talked about it in many other videos I've done. Give the guy a chance, yeah? Let's see what happens. Let him have his tune-up fight. Let him fight Sean Porter, maybe even Danny Garcia. Be patient. If it doesn't materialise after that, you have every right, even I would say, alright, now you're ducking Errol Spence Jr. Now you're making excuses. Now I feel like you're scared of Errol Spence Jr. if the fight doesn't happen at that point. That's the way I see it. Now, Sean Porter had a busy night. He got into it with Keith Thurman, ended up very heated, just like I've, described to you and shown to you. He then went and commentated on the Garcia-Rios fight, and then even took it a step further and stepped into the ring with Garcia and challenged him face to face. So what I'm going to do is play you a little bit of the audio that went to that face to face in the ring between Sean Porter and Danny Garcia, and here it is.
You are not back. Vegas is my backyard. You think it's your backyard? Amir Khan, Lucas Matisse. You think it's your backyard? You're from Ohio, boy. You're not from Vegas. Backyard. Be here, live here, work here, train here, live here, I breathe here. I come spar your ass and beat your ass for free. No, we ain't trying to spar. We're trying to make some money. I come spar your ass. We're trying to do it for everybody. I'm in track your gym. I'm in on your gym. I'm in on your gym on Monday.
Hold on, John, this is Danny's night. Hold on, John. Hold on.
Philly in the house, we don't back down for nobody.
Hold on.
We can take it in the street if you want to. We can take it in the street.
Hold on. Sean, you had your shot. You had your shot. It's his night.
This is Danny Garcia show. Fuck out of here.
All right. Let's get to Brandon Rios.
Take the fight.
Hold on.
Take the fight.
Hey, come on.
Just take the fight.
Now I'm just going to play a quick clip from Sean Porter's Instagram page, which he posted back in September 2017, where he calls out Danny Garcia. So here we go.
What's up, y'all? I'm still at it, still working, still focused, still ready to go. Only one name on my mind. You already know who that is. Only one guy for me to fight. You know who that is. See it? I'm getting ready for him. Danny Garcia, come holler at me ASAP.
So as you can see, Sean Porter has been getting up into both Keith Thurman and Danny Garcia's face. He knows full well that nothing's going to happen with Thurman at this moment in time, as I've already explained. So now he thought, well, you know what? I can go and do what I need to do next, which is get up in Danny Garcia's face and get him to fight me. Apparently he's been calling out Danny Garcia for some time. You saw the clip on Instagram. There has been offers made to Danny Garcia, apparently according to Sean Porter's dad and trainer. Danny Garcia has denied that, and also said that, he's never received an offer, etc. and stuff like that. So, in my opinion, when you get something like that happen in the middle of the ring, 9 times out of 10, a fight's made. And I personally think this fight should get made next. As far as I'm aware, Sean Porter and Danny Garcia don't have any niggling injuries that they're wary about or lacking in confidence about or anything like that, like Keith Thurman. Danny Garcia's just had a year off just to relax and spend some time with his family. He's had his tune-up fight now against Brandon Rios. So it was a tough fight as well. I haven't watched it yet properly myself, but from what I hear, it was Rios, gave him a good fight. So he should feel well prepared, and any ring rust he has definitely been shaken off. So there's no reason for, in my opinion, that this fight couldn't at least be made. These guys, these welterweights are really they're in and around each other, they're getting up in each other's faces and stuff like that. But at some point, we've got to see a fight be made. I'm not trying to make, like, a lot of people are saying, well, hold on, a lot of people are going to start saying, oh, I made excuses for Keith Thurman. But I haven't. I'm just trying to get into his head, at where he's at mentally at this point in time. And the same with Danny Garcia. Where is he mentally at this time? Well, he probably would have felt he needed a tune-up fight. He had that against Brandon Rios. It was a tougher fight than most people would have expected. I'm sure he expected. It's prepared him well now. It definitely would have knocked off all of that ring rust that he would have had from a year layoff. He's got no injuries, like I said. Sign the contract. Let's see Sean Porter versus Danny Garcia next. I don't see any reason why. I think it's a good fight. I've said it before when I did my video on the welterweights. I felt Sean Porter will probably beat Danny Garcia. That's just the way I see it, because of his high activity, his durability. He does possess boxing skills as well. He's not just one of those guys. He's not just some brawler. I can't remember his last fight who it was against, but he boxed well in that fight. and it will be a tough fight for Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia is a flat-footed individual, not a lot of hand speed, but he's got great timing as well. You have to give Danny Garcia that. He is great when it comes to his timing and landing his punches. So it's an interesting fight. It's a fight that needs to be made. You know, we've got a lot going on in the welterweight division. We've got the opportunity of an undisputed champion. We've got Terence Crawford, you know, entering the welterweight division now, looking to take on Jeff Horn on April 14th for that WBO title. Once he's done that, we'll know what Terence Crawford brings to the welterweight division. So, you know, these fights need to start happening. So why not? What better place to start than Sean Porter and Danny Swift Garcia? That's my opinion on it. On to Errol Spence Jr. Errol Spence Jr. put this tweet out. Hopefully Danny Swift wins so we can fight at the end of the year, since he says he's not ducking no action. Okay, like I said, there's a lot of activity in the welterweight division. This weekend was a busy night in terms of drama outside of the ring and around the Garcia Rios fight between these welterweights. And you know, Errol Spence Jr. is looking for his next opponent. Okay, we know that he's fighting in June, I believe, again. That's when he's scheduled to fight next, and he's going to be looking for another opponent. You know, whether that's Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, he doesn't care. He wants to fight whoever it is. You know, and like I said, he just needs to keep doing that. He needs to keep himself active, and keep himself busy, keep winning, keep doing his thing, keep working on his craft, keep building. Because the longer the likes of someone like Thurman leaves the fight, the tougher the fight will become, in my opinion. And that's a fact. You know, if Spence keeps fighting, keeps winning, he's gonna just get better and better. He's gonna keep improving. So the longer Thurman leaves the fight, you know, if he leaves it another year, Errol Spence Jr. will only become a tougher opponent then than he is now, if that makes sense. So, like I said, Errol Spence just needs to keep doing what he's doing. You know, he's a great fighter, a tremendous fighter in my opinion. He's proven that time and time again. You know, he's one of those names that I think in the welterweight division that could be the undisputed champion. So could Keith Thurman. I think if Terence Crawford comes in there and Terence Crawford shows that he can adapt to the welterweight division as he's done with 140 and 135, then he's another name that could potentially become undisputed champion, you know, in the welterweight division as well. And that's my opinion on the whole welterweight situation. But it was interesting this weekend. Plenty of drama, plenty of fun, bit of comedy, some seriousness too as well, you know, in terms of fighters getting in each other's faces, especially Sean Porter. We just have to wait to see how this all unfolds. Okay, so I quickly want to talk about Tank Davis versus Tevin Farmer. It's a topic I wanted to talk about in the last podcast, but I ran out of time, so I quickly want to touch on it now. And Leonard Ellaby did an interview which Tevin Farmer's trainer, Coach Anthony, posted onto his Instagram page, and he basically questioned him regarding as to why the fight couldn't happen. He thought it was a great fight, etc, etc. So I'm going to play you the audio in terms of what Leonard Ellaby of Mayweather Promotions and promoter to Tank Davis had to say.
I'm just trying to figure it out, because we know Tevin and Gervonta say they want to fight each other, but you're basically saying we're only focused on being a star.
That's what fighters do.
Right.
That's what fighters do.
So are you guys interested in making that?
What is Tevin Farmer bringing to the table?
He's bringing a lot. I mean, he's an excellent good fighter. The people want to see it. He just fought for the title that Gervonta lost because he didn't make weight. So in reality, in my opinion, they're on the same level. They should fight each other.
Gervonta Davis Tevin Farmer's on what level?
On the same level as any world champion out there. He just fought for a title that you felt he won.
Has he been world champion yet?
He should have been. He should have won. You said that you thought he won.
Did he become world champion?
Unfortunately, no, due to whatever reasonings behind it we can't control.
That's unfortunate, and I wish the young man the best. All he has to do is continue to win. I think, personally, he's a terrific young fighter.
Right.
I think he's a terrific young fighter.
And so is Gervonta. I think that would be an excellent super mega fight, honestly, in my opinion.
Well, again, I think I know a thing or two about this sport.
So, Leonard Ellaby of Mayweather Promotions simply just shut down that whole fight. Now, I did videos in the past of Gervonta Davis versus Lomachenko, and how Mayweather Promotions said that they're not interested in fighting Lomachenko at the moment, that they've got a completely different path for Gervonta Davis. Maybe down the line, yes, Tank Davis wants to fight Lomachenko, but at the moment it doesn't fit into their plans, so they're not allowing it to happen. Now, we know there's a lot of beef between these two, between Tank and Farmer, and it's a grudge fight. It's a grudge match. You know, these guys, I don't agree with Leonard Ellerbilly, to be honest with you, because Tevin Farmer should be a world champion at 130 pounds right now. He was robbed by the judges against Ogawa. Ogawa, who tested positive for a PED after the fight, apparently has been stripped of his belt. I haven't heard any other news about it though since from the IBF. I haven't. If you have, let me know, give me the links. I would love to know what's going on with that. But the fact is, he actually won that fight. He should be a world champion. So he is a top contender at 130 pounds. Okay, Lomachenko is now moving up to 135. Tank Davis, if you look at the rankings, he's ranked at 135. He's probably going to come back down to 130 now. So why not make that fight? The fans want to see it. I think it's a great fight. You know, Tevin Farmer, yeah, okay, he's had losses at the beginning of his career. He has had losses. I understand where people are coming from. But you got to also understand with Farmer, yeah, he didn't have, from what I understand, he didn't even have an amateur career. He went straight into the pros. So he's been learning on the job. That's why those losses occurred. He's been learning on the job. Unlike Tank Davis, in that sense. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So that's why he had those losses. Now that he's kind of learned from those losses, he's learning his craft. He's building on that. He's building his skill sets, and he is a very skillful and talented individual, Farmer. And I believe that fight should happen. You know, how many times are Mayweather Promotions going to say, no, we've got a different path for our fighter, he's not going to fight Lomachenko? How many times are Mayweather Promotions going to say, when a name gets thrown at him, oh, why not fight Farmer? Oh, no, he's not on the same level as Gervonta, we're going on a different route, we're looking for the big fights, you know, top contenders and all that sort of stuff. Well, he is a top contender. He just challenged for a vacant belt, which he actually won and was robbed by the judges. You've just admitted that yourself. Leonard Ellerby has just admitted that himself. That, unfortunately, when Coach Anthony there just said, unfortunately due to circumstances that are out of our control, he didn't get the belt. And he's like, oh, well, I'm very sorry. He's a terrific fighter, but, I wish him all the best. So you're admitting he's a good fighter, so make the fight. That's my opinion on it. I want to see that fight. I'm pretty sure a lot of boxing fans out there want to see Farmer versus Gervonta Davis. I know the fighters want to see the fight made. They want to see it happen. They want that fight to happen. They want each other. They've got a lot of beef between each other. It makes for a great build-up. So let's make the fight. What is the problem? That's the way I look at it. That's my point on the whole Tevin Farmer and Gervonta Davis scenario. The fighters want the fight. The fans want the fight. Make the fight. Period. Okay, so moving on. Luis Ortiz, who's facing Deontay Wilder on March 3rd for his WBC belt, has stated, I would never jeopardize my career by using PEDs. What the? As you know, they were supposed to fight last year in November, I believe it was now, and in October there was this whole thing. Luis Ortiz, he tested positive for a banned substance. Now, in the background on the screen, I'm going to play you a little video of him while I'm talking of him doing a bit of cardio, training, etc., and just showing you what he kind of looks like at this moment in time. Now, going back to what I was saying, Ortiz basically said back in October that he was taking these pills for high blood pressure. He was suffering from high blood pressure, but at the same time, what he was taking was also can be used for masking PEDs. So the WBC accepted his excuses and basically gave him a pass. The WBA did not. They banned him for 12 months and stripped him from the WBA heavyweight rankings, which I thought was the right course of action. Personally, I think potentially he should have been banned for life, in my opinion, because it's not the first time it's happened. Back in 2014, when he was the heavyweight interim champion at heavyweight for the WBA, he tested positive for an anabolic steroid. Now, he claims in this article, which I will link in the description of the video, that he was unaware of the effects of this anabolic steroid, meaning it was administered to him, but he wasn't aware of what it does, which to me kind of makes no sense. Like, as an athlete, as a boxer, why would you allow someone to inject something into your body if you did not know what it did? Or if you were unsure or uncertain about it, the answer should have been no. You're not putting that into me because I'm still not clear and I don't understand what that is. Because if you did allow someone to do that, then in my opinion, you're not very bright. You're pretty stupid in my opinion. And I don't think Ortiz is stupid. So it sounds like another pathetic excuse from Luis Ortiz. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. It sounds like another pathetic excuse for him to kind of hide the fact and give reason as to the reason why he is a drug cheat. He's trying to cover it up. He's trying to make it out like I would never do that. I would never jeopardize my family's life, my family's well-being, you know, in terms of having to feed them, etc. and stuff like that, and provide for them as a father, as a husband. I would never do that, which is bull. You know, anyone who believes that, in my opinion, you know, you need to go get your head checked. Sorry, you know, I'm being a bit. Some people might think I'm being a bit harsh, but in my opinion, the man is a drug cheat. And when you come out and say something like this, it just makes you look even more stupid. People are just starting to kind of forget about the whole scenario that happened last year in October, and you bring it up again and make these ridiculous sort of comments that I wasn't aware what was being injected into my body. You know, I had no idea. So why'd you let it be injected into your body then? That's what I would say to Luis Ortiz. Your excuses are pathetic. Stop it. It is quite sad in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, you saw the video that I just played to you about him training. I took that off his Instagram page. He looks in great shape. He looks lean. He looks, you know, let's hope he's not doing anything dodge this time. But he looks in great shape. It looks like it's set to be a great fight between him and Wilder. Obviously, I'll do a prediction video at some other point, but that's just my take on what he said. I think it's pathetic. It's just a pathetic excuse in order to try and somehow get the fans to favour with him a little bit. But the simple fact is, no one's going to buy that BS. Let's be honest. No one's going to buy that bullshit. No one. Yeah, you are a drug cheat. You are known to being a drug cheat. You have been tested positive in the past. Stop trying to make excuses as to why you were caught and why you're a drug cheat. Simple as that. You know, that's all I'm going to say. I could go on forever about this subject. I have done in the past. I'm not going to do it here now. That's just my take on what Luis Ortiz had to say recently in an article I saw on boxingscene.com. As you know, Chris Eubank Jr. faced George Groves in the semi-final of the World Boxing Series at super middleweight in the super middleweight tournament, and he lost badly on points. I'm not really going to talk about the fight and break that down. Like I said, I'm going to do a separate video for this weekend's action. What's funny is that James DeGale over Twitter was quite active in his comments regarding Eubank's performance. Now, if you remember, when James DeGale lost to Caleb Turax, lost his IBF belt recently, Eubank put a post up saying that he was a disgrace to British boxing based on his performance on the night, etc, etc. So James DeGale has come back and kind of taken some shots at Eubank from what he did how he performed against George Groves, and here's the tweet. Here's what James DeGale had to say. "You are the biggest hype job I've ever known. You and your father are going around telling people you are a killer. You should be very embarrassed. Now go crawl back under your rock." I'll leave it up there for a bit. You know what? I think James DeGale, he's clearly been waiting. He was actually hoping, and you know, from what I understand, he was tweeting Team Groves and all this sort of stuff before the fight started and stuff like that, because he really wanted to see George Groves win the fight. That's quite funny because he has a bitter rivalry with domestic rivalry with George Groves, and it just shows you how much he hates Chris Eubank Jr. to be, you know, rooting for George Groves to beat him. I thought it's quite funny, but you know what? In my opinion, Eubank shot himself in the foot. He's right though, James DeGale. You hyped yourself up so much, you and your dad gave yourself so much hype, making yourself out to be the next coming in boxing, and you failed miserably. Let's be honest. James DeGale is not even a domestic world champion. He is a global world champion in the sense that he's travelled. He's a road warrior. Most of his fight, after winning that IBF, he won the IBF belt in the US, and he fought, you know, a number of times to defend it in the US as well. Came back home after a year off due to injury, lost to Caleb Turax, you know, and lost his title. From what I understand, he's actually going to look for the rematch because there is a rematch clause and he wants to try and win the belt back. But he's done a hell of a lot more than Eubank's done in boxing. And for Eubank to make that kind of comment was pretty stupid of him when you think of things. But now it's come back and it's bit him in the backside. It's bit him in the arse because now the shoe's on the other foot. The girl can now, you know, put you down and actually criticise you and actually kind of get his own back a little bit. I thought it was quite funny. I just wanted to quickly share that with you. Doesn't look like that fight's going to happen. Eubank needs to get his life, you know, his career back on track. You know, he's got a lot of things he needs to work on, in my opinion. That was proven against George Groves, sorry to say, but you know, even I thought, you know, Eubank might be the real deal. Proved that he's still got a long way to go, in my opinion, on the back of his performance. But I don't want to talk about this too much because I want to do it on another video regarding this week's action, like I said. Moving on. As you are aware, Adrian Broner was arrested last week for sexual battery. Now, he did a little interview which I found on uploaded on Instagram, and I've kind of downloaded it. It's a bit of audio where he's talking to a reporter regarding the charges that are being made against him, and he kind of Adrian Broner just makes matters worse for himself, in my opinion. Where he did a video where he kind of, in a sense, was insulting the police force and police officers out in the US. I'll just play the video for you, and you'll see what I mean.
I ain't touched that girl.
Well, what really happened there?
Huh?
What really happened?
Nothing. She wanted to take a picture, and I ain't feel like taking a picture.
Did you know her?
Nah, I ain't never seen her.
Well, what did you do?
She knew me though.
Yeah, she did know you. Yeah.
She knew me though.
So the allegations against you of groping her is completely false.
Nah, that's completely flawed. That's flawed. No cap.
Do you know her?
Huh? I don't know her like I don't know you.
She just wanted to take a picture with you.
And I did.
What was she claiming you did to her?
Oh, I have no idea.
Come on, bro. You gotta go. All right, but you're innocent.
Oh yeah. I tried to buy they broke ass something to eat. They ain't want it.
Core.
I hate they broke, man.
Core.
I'ma spend what y'all make this year tonight.
So Adrian Broner has basically turned around and said that, you know, the girl wanted to take a picture. He said no. She didn't like it. Things escalated from that point. Not only that, you saw the video with the police officers, how he's, you know, kind of downplaying how much money they make a year and all that sort of stuff. My point is, why add more fuel to the fire? You're supposed to be focusing on Omar Figueroa on April 21st, your comeback, trying to build yourself back into a position where you can win a world title again, and you're putting all your energy and your time into getting into the face of the law, doing all these these interviews regarding why you were arrested and stuff like that. Keep your head down, get back in the gym and focus on what you're supposed to be focused on, is my point. But Adrian Broner is going to be Adrian Broner. I don't personally think, I'd be really surprised if you ever see him become a world champion again. He's a wasted, it's wasted talent. There's people out there who would love, who would give their right arm to have the talent that he has, but he just seems hell bent on wasting it and wasting his career. That's what I've really got to say. That's my update on the whole Adrian Broner thing. Now we're coming to the end of the podcast, and just before I leave, I just want to play you a quick video of Tyson Fury and how he's looking, in terms of his training and his weight loss. Apparently I saw an interview recently with him where he says he's down to 18 stone now, apparently, from what I understand. I could be wrong, I might have misheard that, but that's great if it is, because he was at 25, 26, 7 stones a few months ago, back in September last year. He's now cut that weight back down, and I just want to show you a quick video of him on the pads with his trainer. Fury's starting to look good. He's starting to look sharper. He looks like he's enjoying his training again. He's enjoying being, boxing again. The thought of boxing again, excites him by the looks of things. He's trimmed that weight right down. You can see it from the video. He's, like I said, he's going to need a few, 2 or 3 tune-up, warm-up fights before he starts taking the big boys on at heavyweight. But he looks in great shape, and he looks like he's set to make his return this year. And I'm looking forward to it. Okay, guys. That's all I've got for you this week here on Bout the Ropes. As always, guys, if you enjoyed the video, if you enjoyed the podcast, please like the video, share the video, and of course subscribe to the channel. Until next time, this is Cypherbox reminding you to keep it real.
I was gonna rip his heart out, I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. There's no one can stop me. Lynx is a conqueror, no, I'm Alexander, he's no Alexander. I'm the best ever, there's never been anybody ruthless. I'm Sonny Liston, I'm Jack Dempsey, there's no one like me. I'm from Nairclaw, there's no one that can match me. My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart, I want to eat his children. Praise be to Allah.